Bonjour, good morning and welcome back to the Navy Knitters podcast. My name is Leontine, I'm a Netherlands-based knitter and creator, and I'm the face behind the Navy Knitter. I'm 41 years old, I live in Heerhugowaard, that's about 40 minutes north of Amsterdam and close to the town of Alkmaar, where I live with my husband and two children of almost 11 next week and 8 years old. And as the name suggests, I'm also an officer in the Royal Netherlands Navy. So you can find me here on my little happy place where I talk about my knitting, my creating, my sewing, and from time to time also Navy life. Although that has gotten a little quieter since I'm not positioned on one of our ships at the moment. Yeah, but welcome back after the summer break. I didn't have the courage to record another podcast during a holiday. We went to France in the first 2 weeks of the holiday to Bretagne. It's a little town called Saint-Cast-le-Guildo, and it's about 30 minutes west of Saint-Malo in Bretagne. And we've been there before, and it's really like our happy place. The moment I lock the door and get into my car, or our car, and we know we're driving there, then we are already completely relaxed and zen, and the children know their way around. So they literally jumped out of the car once we were at the campsite and made friends, and we're playing up until the middle of the night. And yeah, it's just fantastic. I'll put in some pictures before or after the video so you can enjoy our little piece of heaven in France. Yeah, but back to knitting. The holiday time is also knitting time. So since we last spoke, or I spoke and you listened and watched, I have two finished objects, and actually one of them I'm wearing. This is my Tolsta Vest. And this is in all black, so it's hard to see the details. I love it. I was knitting on it already in the last episode, I think, and I knitted this in Viking yarn, bamboo and cotton. So Viking Bambino. I knit this on 3mm, and for the neckline and for the armholes I did a double folded cuff, or how do you say. So it's 1x1 ribbing. I did this on a smaller needle, I think on 2.5, and then I folded it double and sewed it in. And I've been living in this top, really. And I did the test knit for the Creabea, which I told you all about in the previous episode if you haven't seen. And I still had this one to finish. And the really great thing about this design, about Rebecca's newer designs, is that she includes options to make bust adjustments. So since I have a D cup, according to the measurements, that you can see it a bit, but you can't see it because it's black, but from almost the widest part of your breast down, you knit it bottom up, and then when you get to here, about the underside of the breast, you increase a few stitches, so you have two little darts. So you have a little bit more fabric when it comes to the bust. And so this avoids having a really wide down piece here, and then that, so now it's nicely fitted and it stays nicely fitted, and it's really great for a great construction to knit a bottom up shirt. And so you knit this from the bottom up. I added about, I think, 4 or 5 centimeters of length, because I don't like my shirts to be cropped. And for the rest, I followed the pattern, and it just fits perfectly. It looks like store-bought, and I'm so happy with this. The only little downside of this yarn is that I have this big tote bag that I bought on vacation, and it's now completely, there's all kinds of black fiber on there. So it does not peel, but it loses a bit of fiber upon friction. So I have to probably depill it once, and I have to get like a fabric piece roller and to roll all over my pretty tote bag because it has all kind of like, looks like black smears on it from this fabric. But I will put in a picture of me twirling around in my top so you can see it all over. I haven't put this on Ravelry yet. I'm so bad at putting my projects on Ravelry. I think I need to improve there. I also keep a handwritten, a booklet where I have all my projects, and I'm so behind. So I trying to catch up. I just noted the titles so that at least I know what project I was working on. And that I did. And for the rest, I haven't put in any details, but yeah. As the weather is today, it's quite stormy and autumny, and you can't see it there, but I see the trees all falling over. So once we get into the more rainy days, I should take an hour or so to just have a cup of tea or coffee and work on my project notes. So this is the one finished object, and the other object, the biggest one, or for me, the one that took up most of the work, because it is actually quite simple. It's just sucking it in around, and sometimes you have to increase or decrease. But by far the project that has caused me to flex my knitting muscles and to train my knitting muscles was the surprise sockalong by Stephen West. I've never taken part in a Stephen West knit along so far. I've been looking at the mystery cows where he makes this enormous schlankets with techniques that nobody can imagine how he invents them. Constructions that are mind-blowing. But I haven't seen myself so far as a Stephen Westy, is that even a name? A Stephen West girl walking around with these schlankets, and I cannot pluck up the courage for the love of anything to knit this with quite small needles, because these projects are like, they take up a lot of time. So I was influenced by It's a Sarah. It's also a Dutch and English podcaster, knitting podcaster, and she was talking about the surprise sockalong, because socks are like, I consider being a small project that you can squeeze in here and there and still learn something new from Stephen West, probably new technique, new construction, and just to build up your knitting muscles. And actually that's what I did. I signed up for the surprise sockalong. I got the pattern before the clues were out. I dove into my stash and I found this really pretty advent that I bought. It was my very first yarny advent from Wolverhalen. It's a Dutch dyer. It's from 2 years ago, and it had all these green bluish minis and 2 bigger speckly gray skeins, and I bought an extra skein together with the colorway of the advent with a stellina in it. And these skeins have been hiding in our bookshelf in the living room for the past 2 years. And so I thought this was a good opportunity to take them out, to cake them, and to actually do something with them. And so without further ado, I hereby present you my surprise sockalong Stephen West socks, my designer socks. And deconstruction was like the most interesting thing I've probably ever knitted. Because, and now I have to take off one sock so I can show you better. Because the way it is done, you start, let's see where you start here. You start by knitting back and forth. You cast on a certain amount of stitches and you start knitting this part. So you knit it flat. Yes, you are knitting a sock. I was like, how is this going to be a sock? But you knit it flat, back and forth. You start by making these waves. Then you continue making these, how do you call them? These chevrons with a lacy motif. This really reminded me of the northeasterly blanket, because it's laying right next to here to me. Then you have the color opportunity, as they're called. You have 3 welts, and this is like a 3D effect, like they're standing up. So you knit a few rounds and then you take the stitches together to form the welt in the 3 contrast colors. And here you have a little lacy part in between. Then you have the chevrons again, and you end up sewing them together using a 2-color I-cord. And then you have this little tube section, still not a sock. Then you end up, this is actually the only part you knit in the round. You knit the cuff with the little color pop again. Then you pick up stitches. I think the cuff and the heel are made in the same time. That was one clue. The heel is either in brioche or in garter stitch. And in the other sock, you can see here I have the outside color of the brioche is my contrast color. And on the other sock, I did it the other way around. So the outer color is the main color of the sock and the in-between color is the contrast. And then you pick up stitches again at one side. So from the I-cord to the first color welt, and you knit these short row sections. So again, back and forth, and every time you have 1 stitch less, you put in a contrast color, and then in the end, the last bit, oh no, it's not even the last bit. So you knit until here, until you have the right length for your foot. Then you go to the back, so you have this giant flap, knit back and forth. Then you turn it around, you pick up the stitches from the heel. And what you do then, this I can better show you in this model. So you have these stitches, you pick up stitches here and on the other side. And every time you pick up a stitch from the big flap on the top, let's put it on right. So you pick up stitches from here, you knit around to the other side, knit 2 together because you have some decreases here to make up this little triangle, as you say, and then you continue picking up stitches on either side and knitting until here, and then again you knit in the round to put the toes in. I put 2 different ones in for the color opportunity again. And I see I made a big mistake here. See, I put about 6 stitches in this one pickup stitch. I don't know what I was thinking. So the entire section was like, I had a lot left here, but not a lot left here. So I kind of improvised and I made the intervals greater, and here I made them a little smaller. So yeah, it's on the downside of the foot. So this is not straight at all. It's kind of bumpy, but when you wear the socks or have it on the blocker, you don't even see it. They're pretty comfy, I must say. And I now call them my design socks because they're this wild. Cooler. And yeah, I'm very happy with these. And I just finished the second sock. So I did the first one and I was pretty much following the clues. I was a little bit behind from time to time, but these were really my Bretagne, sit on the sun deck in the morning with a coffee, watching the ocean, knitting sock. So this is a great memory to have in these stitches. And the second one I cast on immediately afterwards, and I just finished it, the very last part, last week. And yeah, this I also finished. So the 2 in parallel. Well, these were great travel projects because I was knitting on them in the car, and I got myself YouTube Premium just for the vacation, so I could watch knitting podcasts one after the other. And my husband was happy driving all the way, so I usually put in one of my earphones on the outer ear, and so I have the inner ear towards my husband, so not to be all closed off. And then I just sat there doing logistics for the family, handing out drinks and snacks to everybody and make sure everybody was happy, knitting and listening mostly to knitting podcasts. So that was great. And now we are still in Bretagne. I know of this one hand dyer that I went to last year. Last year I went to a little market in Erquy. I think I told you about that in one of the previous podcasts. And I shown you pictures, and I knew that we were going to the same place again because it's really the most lovely place on earth for us to spend our summer vacation. And so I knew that we were going there, so I looked up the dyer on the internet and I looked at her website to kind of browse around what I maybe would like as a yarn. Last year I bought the yarn for these hazel shorties, and this is her colorway Dahlia or Miss Dahlia. And I also made shorties for my daughter with a vibrant pink to go with it for heels, cuffs and toes. And I have enough left comfortably to make another pair of shorties for me. And then with the colors twisted. So this was the colorway I bought last year of her. And I bought this self-striping sock yarn also with her that I really, really like. And it was a sock set. So I got this contrasting color as a mini. And this is the same color that's in the self-striping. And I really like these. So this year I wasn't going for the self-striping sock yarn. But I was looking at her website to get kind of inspired. I was more like looking into something like this. And I saw that she had a cooperation with somebody, with a designer, and they designed Hermine socks. So the Hermine is it's like a sign that is often used in Bretagne. I will put in the picture of the Hermine socks. And they did this cooperation where she dyed the yarn, and the other designer made a sock design for the Hermine socks for the Boucle Laine Wool Festival in France. And I was smitten by the time I saw it. I said, I have to have this. So I sent her a message on Instagram asking if she could put one of the Hermine socks apart, because I was so afraid at the time that they were all sold out and she wouldn't have any more. And luckily for me, she did. And so we arrived in France on a Wednesday because we have a rental on the camping, so like a mobile home, and they now rent out from Wednesday to Wednesday instead of Saturday to Saturday. So you kind of avoid the very, very, very busy Saturdays on the French autoroute. And it was very handy because our holiday started on Monday. On Monday we packed, on Tuesday we drove to Le Havre. I stayed there overnight, we always do that, and the next morning we just drive over the Pont de Normandy and drive into Bretagne, and we're just in time when our home is ready. Yeah, and so the market was on the following Monday, so very early into our vacation. And now I have the ultimate travel hack for all of you. I was watching the podcast of Marlene Knits. Yeah, a lovely German girl, and she does an English podcast as well, so big shout out to Marlene. I really, really like your podcast. And she was telling in her last podcast and in her Spin With Me episode that she is going to Rhinebeck. That's on my list to go to at some point. I've been to New York several times because very good friends of us live there, but I've never been to Rhinebeck, and I think in the future there will probably be an opportunity to combine the both. So to see my dear friends and to also visit Rhinebeck. I just have to listen because it sounds like the children are killing each other downstairs. Oh, it's okay, I think. But when I packed for France, I came across these things. These are packing cubes, and these are not just simple packing cubes, but they are compression packing cubes. So you see this double zipper in here. Let me open it for you because I have my yarn in here. And when you open it, the second zipper, you see how big this is and how small it was before? And so here I put in my yarn for the projects I wanted to do and the yarn that I bought in Erquy. So you can find these on Amazon, on AliExpress, on Temu, everywhere, or in the better I would say outdoor stores. They have them, and I pack everything with these. For work I like to travel with only with no checked in luggage, so only cabin luggage, and these are real lifesavers, and especially also for yarn. So this is the sock set I bought for the Hermine socks. It's, let me get my face away so this will, Laine de Mout. And this is 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon, 2 times 200 meters or 2 times 50 grams. This will make very, very cute socks. This is like a grayish color, and this is white speckled. Then I bought this nice colorway in her, oh, get the face out of the way, in her Mout sock base. And this is also 85 merino, 15% nylon. And this colorway is called Miss Bellatrix. And it's a very, very dark, well, it blows out on camera, but it's a dark teal, green, dark blue, blackish color. And this will become socks for my son. And then, as they were too cute, I bought myself these needle stoppers, and these are, like they call marinière. These are the French shirts in blue and white stripes, and I found these too cute. So I have them, and these will go on my sock projects whenever I knit with her yarn. And then there was another stall at this little artisanal market, and there was a lady selling fabric, bags, silk scarves, and also a little wool of yarn that was all dyed with natural, what's that, natural fiber? No, but natural substances. So no chemical dyes. And after a long back and forth, I bought this skein of her. This is made from 100% French wool that comes from a region north of Montpellier. And, oh, just a sec. I have to make sure the kids don't really actually kill each other. Okay. Apparently I was back just in time, so peace has been restored. I was talking about this lovely lady who was dyeing with natural components, and I bought this skein, and this is dyed with lac dye, and it's 100 grams, 370 meters, all French wool. I thought it was a lovely color. It's kind of like my Tolsta also. It is rustic yarn. No idea what I'm going to make with it, but I thought this lovely lady deserves some support, so I bought the skein, and it's also 100% French wool. But that's not all that I bought on vacation. I've been thinking about this for a long time, if I wanted to order. It's a company, I don't know if you can hear the wind, but it's kind of stormy outside now. This company is called lainesalouest, and they're based in the basin where the Mont Saint-Michel is in Normandy. And they have a cooperation with a lot of local sheep farms, how do you call them? Can't come up with the word now. I have the German word in mind, the Schäfer. But with farmers who have sheep, let's say that, all over small islands around Normandy, so where they have their pastures, also in the bay of the Mont Saint-Michel, and they have the most amazing, like, nature-inspired colorings. And I was eyeing them up for a long time on Instagram already, but I didn't have any project, and also the shipping costs were quite high to the Netherlands. So I always put it off, saying I have enough yarn, I don't need yarn, but well, who needs yarn, right? Wanting to have is better than to need. But in the end, my husband convinced me. He said, you're here now, and this is a lovely color that would suit you in a shirt or something. So in the end, I ordered 300 grams of this coloring, and this is called Polaire or Polaris or something. It's kind of a blue. And so I have 300 gram skeins of these. And I wanted, they also sell it in cones and 25 gram skeins. And I wanted a 25 gram skein of another color that is called Rose de Sable, because it's a grayish, beige, rosé color. and I wanted to see how it looks like. So I ordered a 25-gram tester skein, but somebody must have had a bad day, because I ended up getting another 100-gram skein for free, basically. So I only paid for the 25 grams, but I got 100-gram in the package. So really lovely. I think it was a little accident, but a happy one. And this is Rose de Sable. So also like, it's like oatmeal color with a bit of pink in there. So this is rustic yarn, so I don't know, it prickles a bit. I'm thinking of making a Tolsta with 3/4 sleeves or half till my sleeves till my elbow or something, and then having a little work in the yoke, really something subtle. Don't know yet. These also smell like spinning, strongly like spinning oil, so these will soften up a lot when washing. On their website they also have they do a lot of pattern testing, so they take free patterns, mostly designs by, the ones I've seen is by Drops, and they test this, and they test it with their own yarn. And then they also have a page where they have recommendations what to do or how to alter the pattern so that it fits with their yarn. So that's how I got inspired buying these. And I had them shipped to the campsite where we were. So these are waiting for me. But yeah, so this is what I got from France. And since I finished these socks, I saw, like kind of when I was on my last rounds, I saw that Rebecca from the Creabea was launching a test knit for her Cara wrap. And I was really torn if I wanted to take part, because I actually really like the design. I've been eyeing up the Levitate wrap from My Favorite Things knitwear. Is it that? No, it's somebody else. But I've been eyeing up the Levitate wrap for the longest time, because I want a garment like that. And now that Rebecca launched the Cara, I was sure that, okay, this I'm gonna want this. I wanted to make a black one with the glitter in there to also wear it for Christmas and my birthday and the new year. And so I applied for the test knit, and I was so lucky to get selected to make this one for this test knit. It's like, what are the odds that I get picked again? Because there must be thousands of people who want to test knit for Rebecca, right? And I was lucky. But before, so I applied for the test knit. I finished my surprise sockalong socks, and I actually didn't want to clog up any needles just in case I got the Cara wrap. So what I did was cast on another pair of socks, because you can always make socks, right? And last week I was in, I have this one hair that keeps tickling me. I was in Germany. It's a 2.5-hour drive from here with my mom. I look like a clown. We went to Creabea. We've lived close by for a long time, so it was always a mother-daughter thing to go there and shop together, have coffee, have a cake. And so it was lovely mother and daughter quality time day and shopping and yeah, talking. And we went to Yarn Design Creabea. It's the local yarn store there. And they mainly have lana grossa. And I found this skein, and it's like a petrol-y color with tweed in there. Well, it's also called Tweed Mylan White. It's the color 159. And with this, I'm going to make socks for a dear friend of mine. And still, as I said, in the Dutch, I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch the English episode. So I can talk freely here. It's a friend, it's a former colleague from the Air Force, or well, he started out being Army, then he transitioned into Air Force because he's in the reserve. And we spent a year together in an education program for the military. And this takes a year, and once a month you have 2 days where you actually meet with your entire class, and you have lectures and you get to do assignments. And well, this is scattered out along the course of, along a year that the course takes. And so we were both in the course, and since you have to stay there overnight also, we got to talk. And yeah, we found out that we can actually really talk to each other, and really lovely. And actually we only found out at kind of the end of the course. And we've been friends ever since. I haven't seen him in years now, but it doesn't matter if I'm really in trouble or, well, want to talk to somebody, not being my husband. It's usually him I call, and likewise the other way around. He entrusts me with his trouble and stuff. He has been living in Israel for the past few years, and since he quit the this service, and well, with everything going on there now, he decided with his partner that it was no longer really comfortable and safe to live there. So they are moving back, and I think they bought a house in the south of Germany now. I hope it all went through. And I wanted to make him a Christmas gift as a sign of my appreciation for his support for the last years. And I wanted to make him socks. So these are going to be my speckled Tweety gift socks. And I will make this as a sock tube. I started out with twisted ribbing for 20 rows. I don't know why I all of a sudden decided I wanted to do twisted ribbing, because this took me so long to knit. I spent an entire night knitting 20 rows of twisted rib, whereas the next night I was like 60 rows, just plain stockinette. And I'm also trying to train to knit stockinette in the round without looking, and this is the perfect yarn to do so. So I knitted 20 rows in rib, and I have this other marker to show me where actually the rib stops. Then I made 50 rounds until the double marker. I think somewhere around here will be my afterthought heel. And now I'm just knitting in the round until I hit the right size or length to put the toe in. And yeah, these are going to live in my car. I think this will be my car knitting project, because I haven't a car project at the moment. So these go back in there, and they're living in my little project bag that I got from a swap with the windmills. Really Dutchy. And this is going to live in my car, or waiting for my Cara wrap. This will be on the couch, because in the end I did get selected to test knit the Cara wrap, and I'm really grateful for this. It's my second test knit ever. And since I said I wanted to make a black one with sparkly yarn, I ordered some yarn. I chose because I don't have a lot of black in stash. Last time I knitted with black, except from this. I do have one skein left, but this is not cotton bamboo. It's not something I wanted to, let's say I wanted to use for a wrap for Christmas. So I wanted something fluffier. So in the end, I chose for Drops Air, because it's fluffy. It kind of hits the gauge that it should have. And I also bought some glitter yarn. But this is my swatch from last night. I knitted on a needle size 4. You can hardly see it, but I usually do these little loops. I put in like the yarn overs, so you get these little holes. So I always know on what needle size I made this. So this is needle size 4. The upper part I did with the glittery yarn in there. It's also from Drops. It's like a silver glitter. And here I had some brushed alpaca left also. So I did this with 3, what do you say? 3 yarns held together. But this is, although it gives a nicer color, you can even see it. This is more like dark black, and this is more like faded black. So I love the color of this more. But I think this gives me too much disco ball vibes. So the silver is just too bright. And I don't want to look like a Christmas bauble. I also want to be able to wear this, like, I wouldn't say to the office because I wear my uniform, of course, but I want to wear this outside of Christmas and not looking like a Christmas bauble or a disco ball. So in the end, I decided to order a black sparkly yarn with dark sparkle, so to make it a little more subtle. And now I'm just waiting for this to dry and hope that my stitch count is more or less okay. It should be around 20, but this was very hard to count yesterday night. So for the next episode, you will see a lot of Cara wrap. And the only other work in progress I have is another sock, which is in Regia cotton color, in this autumny springy color, and this lives in my stables bag. So I have this is in Dutch. This says, "This is my stable bag," and it will go with me to the stable tomorrow. This is also mindlessly knitting in the round. And one thing I told in my Dutch, I just recorded my Dutch episode also. I said I saw this at another podcaster. She had these progress keepers, and she put in progress keepers in all her whips. And so the next episode, when she was taping that, she does it once a week, she was showing the progress from the progress keeper, where it was last time and where it is then once she records it. And so people can see how your progress was. So I will do this with all my whips. I will put in progress keepers after recording this, because I have to kind of keep time in mind, because I have another appointment later. And so next time I will show you, and I will also have the Cara on the needles. Maybe I can even film the process and do a knit with me kind of thing. But yeah, not a lot of knitting, although this took up quite some time. It's made on needle on 3, I don't know the US size, the European needle size 3mm, so it took ages. And the other socks, the mystery, this was on 2.25, so not the fastest knit, but a very interesting knit. So I did a lot of sewing also. I rediscovered my sewing machine, and I'm doing a big restock on my Etsy store. And I will just give you a very short run through of the stuff that's going in. We had the Paris Olympics, so I thought it would be nice to have some Paris knitting bags with this fluorescent, nice bright and pink. There's one like bag in bag, so you can put stuff in here, with a square on the side, so it stands up. And I made 4 of these with fabric is a little different everywhere. And you will also get a stitch marker with the Eiffel Tower to get with this. So I have 4 of the Paris bags. And I made something which it's called a needle garage, that you can see here. This is my one, well, the beginning of a northeasterly blanket in 10 years. These are all leftover yarns. And I keep my DPNs in here. So I have these little buttons on there that snap, little snaps. I put my needles in here, I snap them closed. And so my knitting doesn't come off the needles, and my needles don't put holes in my project bags. That you can see has happened here. When I didn't put them on, you see those kinds of tiny holes. So to prevent that from happening, I made these needle garages. So I also made them in the Paris fabric with pink snaps on there to go with the theme. So I have 4 of those. Then I have this design that's kind of Liberty London fabric with a charcoal inside, and also with a little strap in the inside to put on your stitch markers. So I have this with the DPN cases to go with it also. And then without a doubt, I've shown you my London project bag. So I made little sisters of my London project bag, which is these with a, of course, a red inside. So I have 2 of those. And for those of you who've seen my giveaway, I have 1 more of these shrimpy bags. This is just a simple bag with drawstrings on either side, and one with the green flowers. Some more DPN storage. And I made 2 large project bags that will also stand up on themselves, with a white lining It's a kind of thicker lining, so it makes them stand up, and with a strap so you can put them around your wrist or hang them on a chair. The only thing I need to do is put in drawstrings so you can actually close them. And these are like, I can fit 3 of these skeins in here easily. So this would be for a bigger project. And I have 2 of these in yoga fabric. And also 2 DPN cases to go with that. So I have to make pictures of all of this and put it on my Etsy site. But I also was inspired by a woman from my knit night. And yes, we have a knit night in Alkmaar every first Thursday of the month. So the next will be in September. And she said she always knits with circular needles. And she had this little case with snaps on there, but it was all used up and didn't work anymore really. So she asked me if I could make like a needle garage, but for circular needles. And this is what I came up with. So it's the small sister of this. You can see the difference in size. And the placement of the snaps makes it in a way that I can pull on the string pretty hard and it doesn't come out of its case. It snaps open. And then you would have your circular needles in here. So same idea, it prevents them from sticking through out of your project bag, keeps your knit in place and keeps them nice and secure. And I put a little tab on here to hang them on your project or in your project bag. So these are my testers, and I did them in different fabrics, some with tabs on. This is without a tab, so just to try out, and I will bring them to knit night and have people test them, and if they think this is useful, I will also put these in my Etsy store. And of course I have tons of yarn cozies in new fabrics, and I will take all new pictures of them and put them, rearrange my Etsy store a bit. So you can all stock up on Christmas presents or presents. Let's hope so. Well, this is actually all I have to tell. Yeah, we started work again on Monday. The kids have another week off, so it's kind of juggling between working from the home office, trying to stop the kids from killing each other or burning the house down. And it's a slow start at work. That's really nice. And, yeah, I haven't any trips coming up, I think, at least. Like last year I found myself with a week's notice in England for a week. Can always happen, but nothing planned. So a little more knitting content, and I hope to be on here regularly again. Now I get back into the rhythm. So yeah, something I stole from another YouTuber is, if you have watched this far, could you leave me an emoji with a baguette or a croissant under here? So I know you have watched this far till the end of my podcast. Again, if you have any questions, I still have a lot of questions from the Q&A, from the giveaway from last time. So in a few weeks I will do another round of Q&A, but if you want to know anything about the Netherlands, about us, about the family, about knitting, anything, just pop it down here and I will come back to you in the next episode. And yeah, one question I actually wanted to ask you, completely forgot about it. Are you already into the autumn knits, or are you still lingering with some last summer knits? Because I really can't decide. Well, Rebecca decided for me that I'm going to put the Cara wrap on my needles, and I want to finish my Christmas, no, the festive yoke sweater. I only have like this much. I casted it on Christmas, and I want it to be done before December this year, but I have to put some real work in it because it's color work in the round all over. And I really want this to be finished in December to be able to wear it. But I also put a progress keeper in that one and tell you next time how far I got, okay? Well then, I hope you are well. I hope you stay well. I hope you have a lot of exciting autumn plans. And hope to see you again next time. You would really help me by giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. This will help me get my channel out there to more people who are watching. Only last week I had somebody subscribe to my channel from New Zealand. It's actually so great. I have somebody from New Zealand and somebody from Australia. And hello Australia, if you're watching. I can't remember your name, but a big warm hello and thank you for subscribing. And I actually never told you, but my husband's grandfather was actually from Australia. So my husband has some Australian roots. Really cool. I've never been there. There's too many animals who could potentially kill me. We wanted to visit him, but then he fell ill, and unfortunately I never got to meet his grandfather in Australia. But yeah, who knows, one day we'll get there. So you're preparing for summer. Yeah, and I wish you a very fine weekend, or whenever you're watching. I hope to put this up tonight, Friday, and see you next time. Au revoir, tot ziens.
Wat vind je er tot nu van, Karel?
Leuk.
Ja?
Leuk. Geweldig.